She chose him, and I died, literally. But fate resurrected me with a second life, a sharper mind, and a heart forged in betrayal. Now I stand at the top of a global empire, and she's kneeling at the gates I built from ashes. Want more epic rebirth stories? Subscribe to this channel for the next emotional thriller. I always believed heartbreak couldn't kill a person, but the night she chose him over me, it shattered not only my chest but my destiny. I remember the rain pounding like war drums on the rooftop of the old cafe where I had rehearsed those 3 simple words, "Stay with me," over 100 times, but when she arrived, her eyes weren't soft the way they used to be. They were distant, cold, burdened with a truth she didn't want to say yet had to. And before I could utter anything, she whispered, "I'm choosing him. I'm sorry," and that apology sliced through me deeper than any blade ever could. My breath faltering as if the world had sucked the air out of my lungs. And still I tried to smile because I thought love meant understanding even when it destroyed you. But the moment she turned away, everything inside me collapsed. I remember walking out into the storm, the sound of thunder swallowing my silent screams as I wandered aimlessly through the city, not noticing the car speeding around the bend until blinding headlights swallowed my world. A flash, a weightlessness, then, nothing, no sound, no pain, no memories, just a vast darkness that seemed eternal. Yet somewhere far, far away, I heard a voice I couldn't recognize, whisper, "Not yet. Your story isn't finished." And suddenly my heart jerked violently as if struck by lightning, breath flooding back into me like a tidal wave, my eyes snapping open inside a hospital room, a nurse gasping as alarms went off. I had officially died for 3 minutes, and yet I had returned, not the same man, not the broken boy she left behind, but something else. Something forged in the fire of betrayal and reborn in the stillness of death. When I left the hospital, something inside me had changed. The world felt sharper, the details clearer, every sound deeper, every heartbeat louder, and oddly enough, ideas, thousands of ideas, poured into my mind as if some unseen force had unlocked a vault in my brain. Business concepts, product designs, branding strategies, futuristic innovations, marketing frameworks. It was overwhelming but intoxicating, and I knew instantly that this second chance wasn't a miracle. It was a mission. I promised myself that I would build something so big that my name would echo across continents, and so I started small. Working day and night, sleeping on floors, coding, designing, pitching, failing, reinventing, breaking down, standing up again, the cycle repeating until my hands bled and my eyes burned. But every failure sharpened me, every rejection fueled me, every sleepless night carved me into someone unrecognizable from the man who once cried under the rain for a love he thought he couldn't live without. In a year, I built a startup. In 2 years, a brand. In 3, a global phenomenon. My company Me.I became synonymous with innovation, dominating fashion, tech, and entertainment, expanding into 50 countries, earning billions, reshaping industries, and somehow I felt like I was living multiple lifetimes in one. Until the past crashed back into my world in the most unexpected way. It happened on the night of the Myriad World Gala, a colossal event that streamed live to millions, the grand hall shimmering like a palace of light. I was standing at the center of the stage, cameras flashing like lightning around me as I accepted the Global Icon Innovator Award, the highest recognition in the world of entrepreneurship. When suddenly, as I stepped off stage, I saw her, the girl who left me, the girl who broke me, the girl whose choice led to my death and rebirth, standing at the far end of the golden hallway, staring at me with trembling hands, her once bright confidence shattered, her eyes red as if she'd cried for days, and beside her, a child clutched her dress, a little girl with eyes too familiar, too hauntingly reflective of someone I once was. My breath stalled, my mind racing as she walked toward me slowly, each step heavy with guilt and hesitation, her voice barely a whisper. "I never stopped loving you," she said, tears spilling onto her cheeks, and the world around us vanished, time freezing completely before she added, "I left him years ago, he ruined my life, everything fell apart, and this is," she looked down at the child, "your daughter." The words detonated like a bomb inside my chest. I felt the ground sway, thousands of emotions collided, shock, anger, betrayal, disbelief, longing, confusion, but beneath all of it, a strange ache I hadn't expected. The ache of a father who'd never known he was one. Yet something about the moment felt wrong. Too coincidental. too painfully timed, and before I could speak, the lights above flickered violently, the screens lining the corridor glitching, and in those fragmented flashes of digital distortion, a shadow appeared behind her. A man I recognized instantly, the same man she chose over me years ago, but this time his face wasn't filled with arrogance or confidence, it was twisted in desperation and rage, a gun trembling in his hand as he stepped forward, yelling, "You're not taking them away from me." And in a split-second instinct kicked in. I grabbed the child and shielded her behind me as security swarmed, but the man lunged forward before they arrived, grabbing her wrist and screaming about money, power, and the empire he believed he deserved because he had once won her. And suddenly everything clicked. She hadn't come to apologize or reconcile. She hadn't come for forgiveness or closure. She had come because she was fleeing him, because she had nowhere else left to go, because she believed the man who once loved her unconditionally might still save her. Security tackled him, but not before he shouted one last thing, something that shook me deeper than anything else that night. Tell him the truth. Tell him what happened the night he died. And in that moment, her face drained of color, her legs shaking, her lips trembling as though a buried secret had just been dragged into the light. As he was dragged away by guards, she collapsed to her knees, sobbing, and whispered, "I didn't leave you for him. I was threatened. Forced. That night, after I told you I chose him, he followed you. He was in the car that hit you. It wasn't an accident. You weren't supposed to survive." The world froze. My heartbeat stopped. Every memory of that night twisted into a darker shape. The betrayal wasn't hers, it was his. The heartbreak wasn't fate, it was sabotage. My death wasn't destiny, it was attempted murder. That revelation changed everything. Pain surged through me, but so did clarity, as if the puzzle pieces of my past finally snapped into place. She had never wanted him. She had been trapped, manipulated, controlled, and I, too blinded by heartbreak, never saw the shadows stalking behind me. I kneeled beside her, my daughter held in my arms, my breath trembling as I tried to process the years stolen from me, the life rewritten without my knowledge, and for the first time since my rebirth, tears spilled down my face, not from weakness, but from a raw, aching truth. I still cared, despite everything. I carried her outside to the balcony where the city lights shimmered like 1,000 silent witnesses, the cold night air wrapping around us as she told me everything. The threats, the blackmail, the lies, the fear, the way she watched my accident unfold in front of her, powerless to stop it, forced to pretend she didn't care for the sake of survival. With every word, my anger didn't grow. It melted, replaced by a deeper sorrow, a deeper understanding, and a strange, unexplainable gratitude for the second life I was given. But the twists weren't over. Days later, during the investigation, I learned something chilling. The voice I heard during the darkness, the whisper that pulled me back from death, was not imagined, not spiritual. Hospital footage revealed that a doctor, a woman with sharp eyes and a calm voice, had leaned close to me in those final seconds of my clinical death and whispered the very words I remembered. "Not yet, your story isn't finished." She vanished from the hospital records afterward. No name, no signature, no trace, as if she had never existed. The mystery lingered like a ghost shadowing my new life, but something deep inside told me she would return one day, perhaps when destiny required it. Months passed, and slowly, I let her and the child into my life. Not instantly, not blindly, but carefully, rebuilding bond by bond, truth by truth. My daughter, bright and curious, became the light in my world, the anchor to my restless soul. The woman who once broke me now tried daily to heal me. Not with apologies, but with actions, honesty, and a devotion forged from regret. Yet the world watched our every move, the media hungry for scandal, twisting our reunion into headlines of drama and betrayal. But I ignored them. I had died once, and death had taught me that the whispers of the world mattered far less than the voices of the heart. My empire grew even larger, and I used my power to protect them, to build a future where fear could never again dictate their lives. And though the past could never be erased, it became a story. A dark, twisted, painful story that birthed something stronger, something purer, something unstoppable. And in the end, standing at the rooftop of Myriad headquarters as the city skyline gleamed beneath the sunset, my daughter asleep in my arms and the woman who once shattered me resting her head against my shoulder, I finally understood the truth of my journey. I didn't rise to make them regret losing me. I rose because destiny had cracked me open to rebuild me into someone capable of holding more love, more strength, more purpose than I ever imagined. She chose him once, but I chose myself, and that changed everything. And now, in this new life, she didn't beg for my attention because she wanted validation. She begged because she finally recognized the man I had become. The man she always hoped I would be, but never believed could rise from the ruins. And as the stars flickered into existence, I whispered into the night, "This time, no one dies. This time, we live."